I suspect that the reason Jakoyo baptized you Matiangi is perhaps because he was looking at page 3 of the Star, where there's also another cartoon. And for me, that really is where we should start. Everyone knows in this country that there have been instances of theft of public money. There has been general lack of hygiene in politics, especially around mega projects. And there has been impunity because, as I've said before, impunity is doing what is wrong, confident that there will be no consequences. So for me, what that cartoon depicts is a very good thing. It depicts Dr. Matiangi making that effort. And I believe it's an effort that is linked to the, the story on the top page of this crackdown on the Punjani house. It is clear that by the time you have a raid such as this, and given the amount of things that were found in this house, it means it has been going on for some time, and it was always known. Somebody did not have the courage to do that. I think this is what we should be focusing on. We should now focus on this. We should follow the Akasha story. We should follow all those who are mentioned in the US in relation to the Akasha story. It is only by doing this kind of things that we will end up reducing impunity. We will end up reducing drugs. We will end up being in a situation where people consciously avoid doing what is wrong. The story Jakoyo talks about on page 15 is worrying. Because here you have a situation where the government of the US and the contractor are suggesting that what the cost of this construction should be is less. And our own institutions are insisting that it should cost more. That's just weird. You'd have thought that we would be the ones, we would be the ones suggesting that it should be even less. So these kind of things flourish in circumstances of impunity. So what we must do is we must support all the efforts at reducing impunity. And in my view, the tensions currently within Jubilee and basically within government are tensions at progression versus retrogression. There are those who would want situations where we've been historically, in terms of corruption, in terms of major projects that are planned for purposes of plunder, but there are those who now realize that we can actually collectively redesign our future and reduce impunity. And as I said earlier, I will always be with those who want progression rather than those who want. And I think that's how this whole war should be seen. One of the interesting things you will see, and you'll ask yourself, why is it that those who coalesce around the deputy president are almost always those who are either guilty of hate speech or those who are mentioned in mega, or what is it? Is it by coincidence? So it is something that we should also now look at, other than just saying you're on this side, you're on this side. We must look at it historically. It is possible that those who have benefited most from that corruption would be loudest in protecting the status quo.
Thank you. And of course, that story you're alluding to is on page 15 of the Star. Corruption ghost come back to haunt Mombasa-Nairobi Expressway. Kenya authorities had inflated the cost by almost 67% from an estimate of 185.7 billion shillings to 309.5 billion shillings. Wamatangi, this is a smack dab in the middle of actually your committee's interest. You want to comment on this briefly?
Yes, Dibal. It's an issue of great concern. I'm aware that this expressway, the Mombasa
That's a huge
Highway Expressway, was intended to be. It was intended to be a PPP, Dibal, where an investor comes and builds a road using their own money, and then is recovered by way of establishing toll stations, for example, where then that money can be recovered. And the last, when I had inquired as the chairperson of the Committee on Roads and Transport in the Senate, I got the information that this project was by then on hold because there were various issues that had not been agreed upon. But even though it was on hold, this is a matter of concern. Indeed, what kind of plans and study has been conducted, and what kind of budget is proposed. I think this is an issue I'll take up, and while taking it up, I would want to assure Jacoyo that even when I speak about the record of Jubilee, one position we cannot move away from, and I believe on that we are together, is that we have to put a stop to corruption in this country. Absolutely. There is no way we can ever make progress if we don't do that. And there's no one who is denying that corruption is one of our most biggest undoings as a country for many years, decades, everywhere where you go. I mean, not even the mega corruption that we're talking about, even down at the grassroots level. You read a story the other day, Dibal, that was highlighted in your newspaper, where patients were complaining that they are going to a hospital and a doctor is asking for a bribe to treat patients in a remote hospital. That I went there, according to the confessions of a patient, and the doctor said, unless I give him 100 bob to get an injection. It was in the newspapers. Mm-hmm. And the patients were living without treatment. It's unbelievable how this cancer of corruption has eaten into our fabric as a society. And so, for anyone who means well for this country, there is no way anyone will abet or condone corruption. So on that one we are together. The point I'm making, my brother Jacoyo Midiwo, is that it does not help either in inspiration or in planning, or even in the future, in the futuristic way of looking at things, if we also do not pronounce the few steps we have made, albeit the fact that we should have made 100, but we have made 50. We would be saying we have made 50, so next time make sure that we make 100. Now, as a regime, as a government in Jubilee, there are things that have been done that are in record have been done. And so the wrong summary that I was correcting you on is to say that every promise that was made by Jubilee on paper was a fraud. It isn't. You can even as we talk about the laptops, you can say yes, the laptops were stopped after being implemented in a few schools, but other things have happened. That's why I mentioned, for example, about TVETs. It's not a rosy, glossy story all over. Every government, I believe, functions that way. You go, you have aspirations, you have ambitions, you have plans. Some work, some don't. The idea in life is make sure that most of it works, but let it work in an environment where it benefits the people. I believe that should be what we say.
Right, thank you.
I mean, as Jubilee, if you ask me, the balance as I finalized on that, really, because I've been elected on that ticket. Saying to my fellow leaders, and especially from the top, can we put our heads together once more? Can we forget anything else about this politics of division and 2022 and agree that by that 2022 we can be able to deliver at least on a bit of what we said that we are going to do, for the sake of our names.
Thank you.